We all tell ourselves a story, don't we? It's a story about free will, about making rational choices. It's a story where we're in the driver's seat of our own lives. But what if that feeling of control, what if it was just an illusion? What if the choices you're given aren't a menu of possibilities at all, but a carefully engineered hallway designed to lead you to one and only one predetermined door?
Now this isn't just some feel-good quote. It's a strategic doctrine. It's the key to understanding that the real fight for your mind isn't about which option you pick. The real fight is over who gets to define the options in the first place, who sets the board, who frames the question. Because whoever does that, they're the ones who really hold all the cards.
I want you to really think about that for a second. What if the simple act of choosing from a list, whether it's in a negotiation, a marketing email, a political debate, what if that was the trap? A cage built just for you, perfectly designed around your own cognitive biases, your emotional triggers, and your mental blind spots. A system that gives you the feeling of freedom while making sure you act exactly as predicted.
So, today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to deconstruct the psychological architecture that powerful people use to build the very reality you think in. And let me be clear, this isn't about a few simple sales tricks. This is a masterclass in the architecture of control. Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the illusion of choice, and then uncover the engine of influence that powers the whole thing. We'll lay out the blueprint for building the bounded reality step by step. Then, we'll dig into how this system hijacks your mental shortcuts before we arm you with the re-anchoring protocol, your personal defense system. And finally, we'll talk about mastering the frame.
Let's be crystal clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just about getting a better deal on a TV. This is about a constant, invisible battle for your mental autonomy, for what we call your cognitive sovereignty. That's your right to think a thought and make a decision that is truly your own without being manipulated. And this battle, it's happening every single day.
To understand how the system works, you first have to understand the vulnerability it exploits. See, your brain didn't evolve to find the absolute objective truth in everything. It evolved to keep you alive. And to do that, it became a master at saving energy. It loves mental shortcuts, heuristics, to make good enough decisions fast. It will always pick the easy path over the hard analytical one. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. But it's that exact feature that influencers use as their front door.
So, an influencer's first move is often to intentionally crank up your cognitive load. They'll hit you with a flood of complex data, crazy deadlines, and intense social pressure. Why? Because a brain that's overwhelmed doesn't analyze, it just reacts. Under that heavy load, your rational, logical brain starts to go offline. Control gets handed over to the older, faster, more primitive parts of your brain. And in that reactive state, you're incredibly easy to persuade.
So, how does this engine actually work? What's the core scientific principle that gives persuasion framing all its power? Well, this isn't magic, it's science, based on the fundamental physics of how we make decisions, and it even won a Nobel Prize.
Now this slide right here holds the master key to the entire system. Prospect theory basically proved that we humans don't have some kind of internal calculator for absolute value. We just can't see the world that way. Instead, everything we value is measured from a reference point. Is something a gain or a loss compared to where we think we're starting? This idea of relativity, well, that's the leverage point for everything.
This illustrates it perfectly. I mean, objectively, $1,000 is $1,000. The math is easy. But psychologically, the emotional ride is completely lopsided. The sting of losing $1,000 is way more powerful than the pleasure you'd get from gaining it. This emotional imbalance is the fuel for the whole persuasion engine. And here's what that asymmetry looks like. The psychological punch of a loss is about twice as powerful as the high from an equivalent gain. And, from an evolutionary standpoint, this makes total sense. The early human who was happy to find some berries did okay. But the one who was terrified of losing his small stash of food to a predator, he's the one who survived to pass on his genes. Our brains are hardwired to protect what we have more than to get something new. This is loss aversion, and it's the most reliable trigger an influencer can pull.
Okay, so we understand the engine now. It's all about relative value and loss aversion. So let's look at the blueprint. How do you actually build one of these persuasive frames? How do you create a bounded reality, a psychological cage that guides someone to a predetermined choice, all while making them think they're in total control?
Well, it's not random. It's a system, a 4-stage operation. It starts with initiation, where you set an anchor. Then it moves to escalation, where you reframe the risk.
It's strengthened through reinforcement, using social pressure. And it all leads to the payoff, a carefully engineered choice. Let's break down each stage.
This is the opening move on the chessboard, and it's absolutely critical. This is where control is established. The influencer sets the reference point, that psychological anchor that all your future judgments will be based off. They basically define the rules of the game and what value means before you even know you're playing.
So imagine you're in a negotiation, and this is the first number someone throws on the table. It doesn't even matter if it's ridiculously high. Your brain just latched onto it. Now, every other number, 5,000, 3,000, isn't judged on its own. It's seen as a huge discount or a great deal compared to that first arbitrary anchor. The frame is now set.
Okay, once that anchor is in place, a skilled influencer will pivot. They shift the focus from what you could gain to what you're about to lose. The conversation is no longer about the upside of agreeing with them. It's about the catastrophic downside of not acting right now.
They weaponize this exact principle against you. You'll start to hear things like, "This is your last chance," or "You're going to miss out on what all your competitors are getting." This is called negative framing, and it's designed to trigger your loss aversion, creating a sense of panic that pushes you toward a fast, reactive decision. This is where the trap starts to close.
Now, a good frame has to be strong. To stop you from stepping outside and questioning the whole setup, the influencer makes it personal. They start to tie the decision they want you to make to your deepest human needs, your sense of belonging, your status, your identity.
This simple phrase, or something like it, is a psychological bomb. All of a sudden, rejecting their idea isn't just a logical choice anymore. Now it feels like you're betraying your own tribe. It suggests you're not smart enough, not part of the in-group. This creates a powerful identity threat, tapping into one of our deepest fears, being cast out.
And this is the final, elegant move. After they've set the anchor, created urgency through loss aversion, and tied it all to your identity, they present you with the choice. But it's not a real choice. It's a carefully designed menu, built with decoys and false comparisons to make one specific outcome feel like the only logical, intelligent thing to do. Just look at this classic example. The plus option at $95, that's called a decoy. It's objectively a worse deal than the pro option for just $4 more. It exists for one reason and one reason only: to make the $99 pro option look like a fantastic value. Your brain doesn't bother comparing pro to basic. It just makes the easy comparison between pro and the obviously bad decoy. The target option wins every time. You feel smart, but your choice was engineered from the very beginning. And this right here is the mental sleight of hand that lets the whole system work without you even noticing. Our overloaded brains do this unconscious substitution. We swap the really hard question, like, "Do I even need this at all?" for the much easier question they framed for us: which of these three options is the best deal? By controlling the options on the table, they control the answer you give. So, why are we all so susceptible to this? It's because persuasion framing doesn't have to invent new weaknesses. It's so powerful because it hijacks the ancient survival instincts that are already hardwired into our brains.
These aren't bugs in your programming, they're the original features. Fear of loss kept our ancestors alive. Wanting status helped them get resources and find mates. The endowment effect, that's our tendency to overvalue something as soon as we feel like we own it, helped us defend our territory. In our modern world, though, these same instincts can be turned against us with surgical precision.
Here's the bottom line. A true master of influence isn't just a salesperson. They are a manager of your emotions and attachments. Their real goal is to get you to feel an irrational, premature attachment to an outcome, the deal, the status, whatever, and then use your deep-seated fear of losing that attachment to force your hand.
Okay, now for the most important part. Understanding the system is one thing, but what's the solution? How do you defend yourself? How do you go from being a piece on someone else's chessboard to becoming a frame breaker who can see and dismantle these traps? It takes a conscious tactical protocol.
This is your defense system. It's a simple but incredibly powerful three-step process to take back control in any high-stakes situation. Let's walk through it. Here's a frame you see a million times a day. It's a positive frame, focused on what you save. Your brain's emotional side loves this. It feels like a win. It makes you want to act fast before you lose the opportunity.
Step 1 is inversion. You have to manually override your brain. You consciously rewrite the sentence. Instead of focusing on what you save, focus on what you spend. I am about to spend $400. That simple flip from a gain frame to a loss frame short-circuits the emotional bias and forces your rational brain to see the real cost. In an instant, the spell is broken.
Next, you have to become a detective. You have to consciously identify the foundations of the frame they've built. What was the very first price they mentioned? What's the fake deadline they created? What social group did they compare you to? The moment you see the anchor for what it is, an artificial starting point, it loses its power over you.
And finally, step 3, deploy the time barrier. Look, the emotional charge of a persuasive frame fades over time. It's at its strongest in the heat of the moment. So the single most powerful thing you can do is introduce time. Just walk away. Never ever make a big decision under pressure. Time is the best friend of your rational brain. Giving yourself just 24 hours is a powerful antidote to almost any kind of manipulation.
Now, it's really important to say that these tools aren't inherently evil. They're just powerful amplifiers of human psychology. When they're used ethically, framing can help people make better, clearer decisions. The goal of an ethical influencer is transparency, to empower you to choose, not to trap you in a bounded reality. The strategic choice is always between empowerment and entrapment.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've taken apart the system, we've looked at the psychology, and we've outlined the defense. Mastering the frame isn't about learning a bunch of tricks. It's about getting one core, strategic insight deep into your bones.
This is the ultimate takeaway. The real power in any situation isn't in the options on the table, it's in the setup. True control belongs to the person who frames the conversation, who sets the anchors, and who defines what winning and losing looks like before the game even starts.
So the next time you feel trapped, when the choices in front of you all seem bad, your first move shouldn't be to pick the lesser of two evils. Your first move should be to analyze the game itself. Step back and ask the real questions. Who built this frame? What do they really want? And why are these my only options?
And so, we're back where we started. But this sentence means something different now, doesn't it? It's not just a quote anymore. It's a declaration of independence. It's not about being difficult. It's about recognizing that rejecting a rigged game is the first, most important step toward creating your own. It's the ultimate act of cognitive sovereignty.
So I'll leave you with this question. You see the blueprint now. You have the tools to dismantle it. The choice is no longer about which box to check or which path to follow. The choice is about whether you're going to keep playing in someone else's game, or if you're finally going to start designing your own.